At some point, the setting sun had disappeared beyond the artificial horizon created by the city skyline, and night was falling. How many hours were left till November 4th began? I grabbed my bag and ran out of the room. I wanted something. Some form of unshakable evidence. Evidence proving who the killer was.
いや違う。そうじゃないんだ。
That's not what I wanted. What I wanted was proof that neither Kurisu Serika nor I was the killer. So get us all in a room and see what happens. I pushed my way through the media camps so crowded around the clinic and ran inside just as Yuki was coming out of the exam room. She was holding Yuta's laundry and she nearly spilled on the floor when she saw me. Have I seen Serika? Oh no, I saw her when we were like talking through the issue. Talking through the initial stuff with Arimura around and whatnot.
タクルさん、ゆうとくん、お薬を飲んで、やっと眠れたんです。だから、お願いです。そんなに慌てて、ののさんに何か。
大事な話なんだ。今どこに？
さっきまで、私と一緒にゆうとくんのお世話を。
そうか。
I reminded Yuki to make sure that once the 4th began, she was never let herself be alone. Then I headed up the stairs to the dorm. Fade to black.
いるか?
Fade to black. Fade to black. Fade to black. And I probably should stop for the day because I'm sort of out of time. And I feel like this next part's probably going to be similarly extensive. So I'm going to end there for the day. This is probably going to be the middle of the episode, just knowing how things tend to work. And I am invested. I am I'm probably going to pick this up to record the rest of this in the relatively near future, actually. The rest of, hopefully the rest of the common route. I don't actually know how much is left, but I don't know. Maybe if there's another notable arc of the story after this all gets developed, I guess we'll see how long that takes and if it goes into a different arc or if it goes to an end. But it feels like it's starting to go to an end, maybe, possibly. We've been at this game for a long time, but these games also tend to be very long, so there could be another 20 hours. So I'll leave it there for now, and this is probably a good place for me to stop for now, and I'll see you all next time. Drive safely, everyone. And hello, and welcome back to Chaos Child. Let's just jump back into it. I'm at that point where I'm aiming to get to the end of the common route, however long that takes me, and then I'll edit it all up and throw stuff together. So again, let's just jump back into it.
Kurisu.
I knocked on the door, but there's no answer. It was strange. She was in the room. She should have been able to answer.
入るぞ.
I softly turned the doorknob. It wasn't locked. Oh no, don't tell me. Oh no. Okay, so what was happening last time was we put together, if I'm remembering correctly, because again, I'm just sort of jumping back into this if I'm remembering correctly, we put together who it could be, and we're trying to track down those people to just try to get any more information if we could rule anyone out, basically. I opened the door just a little and looked inside. I'm going to assume she's asleep. The lights were off, and the room was pitch black. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. She tried her best to hide it, but ever since Yui had died, she'd been a mess. She wasn't eating much, and she clearly lost weight. It hurt to look at her.
なあ、大丈夫か? 父さん呼んでこようか?
I spoke softly as I came inside and approached the bed.
Huh?
No one was there. She wasn't lying on the bed or the sofa, or sitting at the desk.
どこ行ったんだ? あいつ.
turned on the lights, but the room was completely empty. I remember that she said she's something about sleeping in my room before, and I checked there. But it was empty too.
おいクルス
I didn't want to wake Yuto, but I still shouted as I ran downstairs.
ああ、先輩こんばんはっす。
Arimura was in the dining room because this is right before the next day comes, right? She's flipping through the pages of Girls Magazine looking bored.
有村すまないなウキのことよろしく頼む
いやいや、私あの子の保護者じゃないっすよ。だいたい宮代先輩も狙われてるんですから、一緒にいないとダメでしょ。てか私とウキのこと守ってくださいよ。
Yeah, I try real hard. Arimura frowned and glared at me.
4日になったらそうするそれよりクルスを知らないか
クルス先輩ですか？ついさっき出かけたみたいですけど。
You didn't stop her?
出かけたどうして
I guess she's not a target because she's not a Gigalomaniac. I was just trying to remember, like, they had a special name for the psychics in this.
さあ、慌てて出て行きましたよ。声をかけてもなんだか生返事で。
Did she come to a conclusion? A similar conclusion,
僕も出てく
maybe?
るすぐに戻るからとにかくウキを頼む
ちょっとだから私は保護者じゃないですって先輩
She screamed at me, but I ignored her and ran down the stairs. I had a terrible premonition, and my heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would burst out of my chest. As I was about to exit through the clinic door, Uki poked her head out from the examination room again.
タクルさん、すみません。静かに。
No, just because it's night and I'm recording at like 10 in the fucking evening and there's going to be neighbors that might hear me. I'm sorry if you can hear me, neighbors. I'm just talking at this point. I'm sorry.
そうだったな
何かあったんですか？
いやなんかクルスのやつが
And something caught my eye in the examination room. Nothing that I'm noticing, at least. If they actually added it. It was Dad's computer, the one Kurusu had been using before. Okay. So something I can't see. A pair of stereo headphones were plugged in into the front audio terminal. You mean the headphone jack? I thought for a moment, then stopped and went into the examination room. Yuki saw the look on my face and drew back a little, as if she was scared.
父さんはいないのか
昼から患者さんの往診に出ています。ここだとマスコミの方がいて診察にならないって。
Adds up. But that was a while ago.
じゃあこれは
Points to the headphones and Yuki looked troubled. She'd probably been told not to tell me. It was definitely Kurusu who had been using them. Of course, she wouldn't need to. She wouldn't need these just to browse the internet, which meant I could guess what she was doing.
クルスのやつも嘘つきだ
Yeah, but I think she's lying in order to try to like pursue it without involving me. In the same way I'm doing that. Remember what we said we were planning to do? Draw in the person as to become the target, right? Just like I turned out to be today. Right, okay, so he's self-aware at least. I turned on the computer and looked at the browsing history. She didn't even have the habit of deleting it afterwards, or had been in such a hurry that she hadn't had time to do so. I mean, given what she's doing, it would be a good idea. I don't think that's is that really a habit people pick up? Okay, maybe I've lived with a computer like solely accessible by myself for too long. It feels like weird to have that as a habit. The history list was still there, and when I clicked, I found a site with the first video from the Return of the New Gen Madness, and the Don't Look case.
またこれを見てたのか
Yeah, that does seem like one of the most opportune things for like some sort of clue to be found in. Just because, like, if I remember correctly, there was like actually someone who showed up like slightly off screen during all that. Like there's someone who just straight up like showed up at the place, right? Unless he was being delusional for that, but in the same way, that would also be very interesting, right? I put the headphones on and pressed play. I screamed and ripped them off. The volume was so loud that I thought it would blow out my eardrums. I could hear Yuto rolling around in the bed behind me, and Uki put her hand over my mouth. I made an I'm sorry gesture, and I watched the video keep playing at that the video kept playing at that loud volume. That was close. I almost went deaf. The volume got set to maximum somehow. I quickly lowered it and put the headphones back on and looked at the screen. Okay, that is sort of weird. If she was using it, why would it be at max? Like, if there's something she didn't want to hear, I can imagine it being muted. Like, something came up that was disturbing, but maximum, that is weird. It's unnatural, basically, given what we are speculating, being the events that recently took place on this computer. If it's like a trap for us, like fuck you, Takaru, I don't know, from her, then you think she'd just delete or just like not like. You would think that she'd just like delete her tracks at that point if she didn't want Takaru going after her. It's more realistic that she just did it in a hurry. She didn't do any of that in a hurry, right?
この動画を見てたんだよな、あいつは。
はい。
Yuki's voice was soft, so she actually had been told to keep quiet about it.
これをずっと。
いえ、私その映像とっても怖くて見ないようにしてましたから。でもずっとじゃなくて何度も止めたり動かしたりしてた気がします。そうしたら何かに気づいたみたいで、突然自分の部屋に用があるからしばらくゆうとくんをお願いって。それ以上はあんまりわからないです。ごめんなさい。
Her shoulder slumped as if she was ashamed of her uselessness.
いや、ありがとな。
I nodded and told her not to worry about it.
タクル兄ちゃん？
Then I heard a frail voice.
タクル兄ちゃんでしょ？
起こしちゃったか。ごめんな。
すみません、ゆうとくん。
It was Yuto. He hadn't been asleep after all.
いいんだ。
I looked over at the bed and saw that the drugs had almost put him to sleep again. He was trying his best to keep his tired eyes open.
ね、僕、知ってる。
え？
のの姉ちゃんね、何回も同じところだけ見てたよ。マウスを使う音とイヤホンから漏れてくる音でわかった。
It was that loud? Oh, is that why it was that loud? Because maybe she was trying to pick up on like something in the background, something really quiet. If it was loud enough for him to hear, being all the way over here out of the headphones.
何回も同じところだけ。
She'd only been watching one part of the video. But why?
まさか。
No way. I stared at the computer screen. Had Kurusu found something? Some clue that pointed towards the killer? Did she find something in this video?
タクル兄ちゃん。お姉ちゃんの敵を取れるかな？僕とお姉ちゃんをもう二度と会えなくした悪いやつ捕まえられる
Okay, that's a big drum. That's a big bomb to drop right there. Especially in this moment, I do not know what the right answer to this question is. But clearly he's suddenly processing it.
ああ、任せとけ。僕が捕まえてやる。絶対に捕まえてやるからな。
Yeah, but I think he's made up his mind. The good news is that Yuto's clearly starting to let himself properly process it.
お姉ちゃん
Everyone has their process of grief. Good to see him progressing. Yuto started to cry, so I left him in Yuki's care. As I took the phone out of my pocket and dialed a number I knew very well. I grew more and more anxious with each passing ring.
クルス、どこ行ったんだよ。早く出ろよ。まさか一人で犯人のところへ行ったんじゃないだろうな。やめろよ、お前。
This is exactly what you would do. What you would have done if you found the killer first, right? I know exactly what you think. I suddenly felt like I could hear her voice.
いつまでも姉貴ぶるなよ。本当は泣き虫して臆病で僕に甘えてばっかのくせに。さっさと演じしろよ、バカ野郎。
But the only thing I heard was the endless sound of ringing. Oh no. Urawacho Shibuya. Ooh, that sounds like a dragging sound. The path to Hekio Academy. Oh, why is she making a dragging-esque sound? Goose is walking along an empty street. Her breathing was a little heavy. She'd been walking a long time and at a fast pace. She's wearing her school uniform. There's a school rule that said whenever you were on campus, you had to wear your uniform. It was funny to realize that she was obeying it even now. So you're going to the school? She just found a clue in the Don't Look video and asked a certain person to meet her at Hekio Academy. Who do you think it is at this point? Just based on our last discussion about the possibilities of who it could be. Like, how many options are left? The person had said they couldn't be there immediately, but they would call her when they got to the school. So there's no need to rush. There's plenty of time until the other person would get there. That is what Kurusu told herself. But her body kept driving her forward. She realized she hadn't looked at it in a long time. She must have been under more strain than she realized. She looked and saw several calls from Takeru and Arimura. She thought of stopping and heading back, but then sighed as she realized it was impossible. She couldn't go back to Alba Dorm now. As she saw Takeru's face, her determination would waver. Her determination would waver, and she would change her mind. So now, the only thing she could do was go forward. Now that she'd realized the hidden truth. I don't know what you'd find in that video that would point towards the one thing I think that she, is doing. Unless there was, she was watching it over? The fact that the audio is so high means it feels like she had to have heard something. Did she hear Sarika's voice or something like that? And I mean, let's be honest, how many options could there be for who she invited? Unless her father shows up, which, I would be impressed by. Because the academy wouldn't really make sense otherwise, right?
ごめんね。やっぱり嘘つきだね、私。
Oh, hey, look, who also has that thought process. She apologized to her absent brother and tapped the phone in her pocket. Then she glared at the hill in front of her as she readied herself for what was to come. She had to rid herself of any kindness or sentimentality. Even if she didn't intend to have any mercy now, she might find herself having a moment of weakness later. More just means someone that she knows. Doesn't necessarily mean Sarah. I mean, okay, I'll state it directly. At this point, I have no idea what the game could possibly be leading me to outside of Sarika. and I have no idea how I would connect her to basically any of these crimes. Outside of the fact that the game's basically guiding me to that sort of solution, right? By just the nature of the story that they have presented for Kurisu and Takeru, and the fact that they put 3 people up there. Yeah, 3 people that could be the potential culprit, and we are actively following these 2. That alone tells us what we need to know, right? I would be surprised if you got to this point and it wasn't blatantly obvious, right? Right? I'm saying all this because I want to be proven wrong, I guess is really the thing, right? I want the game to be just like, fuck it, it was something else entirely. All our narrative strings went to a completely different direction, and I hope it would do that, and it also makes sense so it doesn't feel unsatisfying. At night, the academy was an ominous dark silhouette amidst the darkness of Shibuya. It was as if it knew what was coming. Usually there was a guard in the room attached to the front gate, but for some reason, she couldn't see him. The air felt tense. She shook off her uncertainty and went inside. She went into the dark newspaper club room and turned on the fluorescent lights. Kurisu had decided to wait here for her call. When she arrived, she found something unexpected. It was the map that they put up to analyze the case, which had been taken down a while before. It was now back up on the wall, and there were 7 new pictures and pieces of information that she hadn't seen before. That was probably Takeru's doing. He'd been continuing to hunt the killer in secret too.
Takeru, あなただって嘘つきじゃない。
She found herself letting her guard down as she thought of Takeru, and quickly shook her head. She brought a chair close to the wall and sat down and stared at the map. Takeru had said something once.
けど、最近はその事件自体が逆に僕らを追ってきてるような、そんな気がするんだよ。
Looking back, several things had happened that could only be explained that way. Right. Kurisu decided that Takeru's life was in danger because he was a psychic, and that she was going to save him. So, I will say, like, with the very limited information we have, I do agree that, like, it can only really be explained by that information. But, like, by the nature of everything that's going on, it feels like there's a lot of room for us to just not have a lot of information, right? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that it does feel a little weird to have this whole thing going on, and then it just sort of boils down to, oh, what's happening, like, in our, like, very specific personal situation. I'm very interested to see what direction the exact motivations, because, like, in my head, it's only just, like, sort of a wild throw eggs at a wall, like, yeah, that could sort of make sense. In terms of motivations and methodology more than anything. I'm just like, I have no idea how that would work. But if the killer was just after Takeru's life, there are more direct ways to go about it. But instead, they enacted the return of the new gen madness killings, and claimed Yui's life in the process. It would have been easy for them to take Takeru's life as well. But just like Takeru had said, the case seemed to be slowly closing in on them from all sides. Which meant
タクルの命じゃなくて、タクルに関する別の何かが目的。
And that was the only thing that made sense. She couldn't figure out what it could be. Okay, so if it's Serica, and I mean, they're like literally putting in front of us for this whole thing. Like the only way that makes sense in my head, and there's also the fact that it was mentioned that there are multiple people, so that part I have not put together at the very least. That part I don't get. Unless she's, like, connected to another group, maybe? Maybe that could be it. I don't know. Maybe. Again, the only thing that really makes sense from Serica. And it's actually interesting because I've had so little fucking, like, I've wanted us to just have like a conversation with her ever since I like was like, yeah, I could sort of imagine it, because I just wanted to get like a feel for like what's going on with her, because my impression of her after having a year of like not really hearing like a conversation with her is basically sort of like a happy-go-lucky character who we never really got a deep feel for like what made her tick, but she definitely just seemed like a good friend, a close confidant, someone that like cared about like the people in the group, which all in a very like sociopathic, psychotic sort of manner. I could imagine someone being like, I'm gonna reenact this because I'm gonna try to help you via that somehow by creating this mystery for you to solve or something like that. And like I said before, it almost felt like the and who knows, maybe it's on purpose, because I do get the idea of like making it the last killing recreation being a being something like that. That does make sense to some extent as to why it might have purposely been a red herring. But it really does feel like the the Minamisawa Senri stuff. It really felt like that might have been the intended solution at a point. Again, I'm really curious. I don't really have much else to add to speculation than what I've said before. But yeah. And then she saw a piece of paper on the board. Haida had Minamisawa's ID card. That impossible fact had swirled inside of her chest and sent her mind reeling. Oh, did you not know that? It was one of the reasons she figured out his Haida Rico. Oh, right, no, yeah.
ただ、その目的を果たそうと事件の裏で動いている人間が誰なのか、それは分かった。
It had all started with that ID card that Minamisawa Senri had. That was, without a doubt, her Rio card. And no one but Kurusu could have known where it was. All Senri's possessions were lying beneath the memorial. Kurusu had put them there herself. All of Senri's family had died in the earthquake. She had no surviving relatives. So after the memorial had gone up, Kurusu had put them there. Even Kawahara, the other boy who had often played with him, did not know that. It was a secret about Senri that only Kurusu knew. But Haida Riko also knew that secret. No, she'd been given it. How was that possible?
思考盗撮。
The power to see other people's thoughts and memories. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. And it's also the sort of thing that matches up with my, like, speculated motivation of, like, I want to help you guys in some way. I've seen all your trauma, and just adding it up, this sort of makes sense. Maybe, this whole, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, maybe recreating it would allow you to, like, work through the trauma of that time, or I don't know. Like, legitimately, there's, whatever it is, like, gonna be so detached from, like, a typical common sense that it's hard to try to put together, like, what someone could be thinking at that time. Kaikida, the victim in the revolving dead case, had supposedly possessed it. The killer had used it to read Kurusu's mind. Oh. I did not remember that detail. Has Kurusu met this person before? And that is how they were able to find Senri's ID card. He was able... Okay. Then was that murdering, like, getting rid of the evidence? Or something like that?
つまり犯人は私と接触したことのある誰か。
Wait. I'm missing something here. I am missing something. The power to see other people's thoughts and memories. He had supposedly possessed it. Or just saying that's a parallel, like we know it's possible because this other person had something similar. Is that what we're saying there? Sorry, I thought it was going out for on a bigger limb than that. And now that she found out what was hidden in the Don't Look video, she had no choice but to fight them. She probably made contact with them more than once or twice. I mean, if it's who I think it is. Because they were one of her closest friends. Okay.
あなたとはどれくらいの付き合いになるんだったかしらね。
She suddenly remembered their smile. Their whisper echoed off the walls with no one to hear it. Their countless after-school hours they spent together were some of the most important times in Kurisu's life. Meaningless conversations, shops they browsed together, but she couldn't think of any special moments. And that was very painful for her, because to Kurisu, the two of them were such natural parts of each other's lives. But I have to ask, I have to find out. That's an interesting observation. You couldn't think of any special moments. Are you implying that, like, is she like... Sorry, I was just trying to get a closer look at... See, I was just wondering, like, maybe they were, like, throwing something in the background. I just saw, like, a pattern there I didn't recognize, and I was like, wait, is that something I should pay attention to? But, that would be an incredibly interesting concept as well, if you had, like, someone who's a psychic that, they were never actually part of someone's life, or something like that. And when in reality, like, they just use their powers to, like, maybe not even, like, read people's memories, but, like, change their memories. Insert themselves within someone's life. That sort of thing. And maybe the whole process of the New Gen Madness killings was even just, like, to... Maybe it was to work through those memories, to make them face that trauma, those memories, and think about it again, so that you could insert yourself into those memories. I'm thinking of the Rick and Morty thing, where there's like those parasites who like gave you good memories of them, and they like inserted themselves into your life via those like giving memories of that. I almost wonder. That would be a very interesting psychic skill to have to play in a more dramatic fashion than what Rick and Morty did with that. Even the answer meant that things would never be the same.
それともう一つ。
Her thoughts went deeper. There's one more thing she had to ask. Tokyo General Hospital. That was where Takeru had seen Senri being experimented on 8 years ago. She'd been tied to a chair, slowly going mad, when she then saw a boy that she didn't know, which was Takeru. She had no time to figure out who he might be, but she shouted, "Help me," without even understanding what was going on. And the boy heard what she cried out and ran. Was he surprised at the horrible scene he saw, or afraid? It was probably both. Kurisu couldn't blame him for it either. At the time, he was just a 4th grader. A 10-year-old boy. There's no way he could have saved Senri. And that was why Senri didn't hate him for that. Kurisu knew that. She tried to tell Takeru many times and she failed. She failed to tell him about her one big mistake. And that was why she'd always been suspicious. That was the reason why she now knew the truth. Because that day 8 years ago, when that boy had witnessed Senri being experimented on, he was alone. He was outside the room where the experiment was being done. Just a single timid boy peeking through a tiny crack in the door. There had been no one next to him. Oh my goodness, is it really going to be that? Wait. Is it really going to be that? Wait.
けど、タクルはあの時、二人で目撃したと言っている。
Wait, how do you know that there was no one next to him? Oh, Oh, wait, because Senri was experimented on and... Wait, did she live after... Did she, like, go out and meet, like, Kurusu after that? Oh, fuck. Damn, not playing the game for a year! Oh. He'd been in a coma for over a year, and he was simply mistaken. And she thought that he was confused. But then that person had said the same thing. That they were together. It had been a thorn in her heart for a long, long time.
本当にあなたはあの時タクルと一緒にいたの?
She reached out towards the computer. But in the end, she let her hands simply float in the air. She's seen the video dozens of times. It wouldn't be any different here than it was in Alba Dorm. Nor would the secret it concealed. Nor would it change what she was about to do. There's no changing any of it, it seemed. Oh, interesting. So if we take the possibility of like someone actually inserting themselves into another person's memory, because again, she also noted that she thought that Sarika was part of his life for a very long time, right? If we take that into consideration, what could have she seen in that video? Heard in that video? I don't know. Did he say something, view something that like implied something? I don't know. Implied people that were there that weren't actually there? Is she just like linking up that concepts of like a false memory? It took a long time before they called her. It was almost midnight. But Kurusu did get frustrated. She simply waited, calmly. She assumed it would be around this time. They were probably waiting for November 4th, the day of the new Gen Madness.
そして私を
And then they were going to do to her what they did to the other victims. She felt her phone vibrating and took it out of her pocket. Sakura was still calling despite the late hour. He sent text messages too. Of course, Kurusu hadn't answered at all. Was it him again? She thought as she looked at the screen. The name she'd been waiting for had appeared on the screen. She answered the call and put the phone up to her ear.
もしもし
She heard a voice she knew well on the other end. Sorry to keep you waiting, they said.
いいのよ。そんなに待ってないから。それにここへ呼んだのは私の方だし。それじゃあ屋上でいいかしら。待ってるわね。
She ended the call and went to put the phone back into her pocket. But suddenly she stopped and called up a picture on the screen. It was the photo of her family at Oba Dorm, the same as the one that was Taku's treasure. She stared at it for a while, and then placed the phone on the edge of the table, the place where she always sat when she was with the newspaper club. If something happened to her, she wanted someone else to save it. And then she looked around the room and bowed.
お世話になりました。
She turned off the lights, and the room became as dark as the abyss. Don't act like you're never coming back. He wasn't by her side to tell her that. Back to his perspective. Yep. Interesting. I mean, I have no other, like, yeah, they're not even being subtle about it anymore. Here, let me go get some water. Okay, back. Pulling my hair out in frustration. I already watched this video 100 times. I'll do it another 100 times. What do you think she's been doing all fucking day? It was, of course, the video of how do you do double O's in Japanese again? The don't look victim. He'd wept bloods of tear, lost his arm, which had dyed his desk red, and then died. Not only was I watching a shocky, gory video over and over again, I was desperately searching for what Kurusu had found. I felt like I was going fucking crazy.
クルス出てくれよクルス
So, like, how does Kurusu know that? Like, the only thing that I can think of is, like, she heard from Senri at some point. And unless I don't even remember specifically the time frame of when that, the torture happened, relative to her knowing Kurusu. But I'm gonna guess it had to have been before, and she relayed the story of hearing a small boy. Or seeing a small boy and crying out for help, and it was one solo boy by himself. Each time I watched the video, I called her phone. But she never answered. I slammed my finger down on the end call button and started up the video again. Maybe it was something in the user comments, not the video itself. Thought it might be, so I checked every single one, but nothing had struck me as unusual. It's just a flood of meaningless comments going from right to left. Right, because Nico videos or wherever, the typical Japanese streaming platform has, like, the comments up on screen, right? Only a few of them were actually worried about perfect timing game, which just pissed me off even more.
一体この動画に何があるって言うんだよ
I expanded to fill the screen. I tried slowing it down. There's nothing. Kurusu found something here.
タクルさん
There's a hesitant knock on the door, and Uki came in. She'd probably just been crying with Yudo. She was rubbing her swollen red eyes.
ユドは
先生が帰ってきて見てくれてます。お薬を飲んだのですぐに眠れるだろうって。
I will say, it's really interesting how they've had like a super limited look at not just Serica during this extra time frame, but also the father. Like, there aren't that many characters. Like, I don't think I've heard him, like, say or even show up since we got back from that part of the story with, Yui. And like, Serica showed up for a little bit, but she, like, barely said anything. And like, even, like, I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to remember all the characters. Student Council Boy, like, yeah, he hasn't shown up for, like, good reason, like, an imaginable narrative reason. But the father, he hasn't shown up. Like, they've talked about him, but they haven't, like, actually shown him do anything. And Serica, like, she showed up for a little bit. It was such a minor thing at the time. And then, like, even detective and the lab scientist, there's that big scene with Ito where, like, they weren't, like, big parts of it, but, like, their personalities shown through as part of it in a way that I can't say for, like, the little bit Serica was there. I don't know, maybe I'm looking for coincidences at this point. Maybe I'm looking for trends that aren't there just because I'm trying desperately to find something more, because things don't 100% add up for me yet. Her voice was still a little teary.
何かわかりましたか？
いやダメなんだ
Uki looked very concerned as she watched me grit my teeth.
私、ののさんが何かを発見したとき、近くにいました。
あ
なんだか、いつもの冷静なののさんじゃなくて、だから、とても心配です。
Uki seemed to be remembering what had happened. Seeing her like that only made me more worried.
クルスのやつどんな感じだったんだ
それが突然立ち上がってそんなのは嘘だとかありえないとか最初すごくうろたえていて
うろたえた
はい顔色も真っ青だったんです
Shocked and pale. Did that mean she knew who the killer was? And it was someone she didn't want to be the killer.
やっぱり僕か尾上か。
And then I shook my head.
ごめんなさい。本当はそこで私がののさんの力に。
いや、それはいいんだ。
I tried my best to keep her from sensing my panic, as I slowly asked her another question. For now, I want any hint, no matter how small.
ウキ、クルスは動画を見ていて何かに気づいたんだよな。それでそのシーンを何度も見直していた。
多分そうだった。
それがどのあたりかわからないんだったな。
すみません。
She looked down towards the ground, and I quickly shook my hand at her.
いや、責めてるとかじゃないんだ。そうじゃなくて。
What should I do? What do I ask to even get the hints I need?
ダメだ、わからない。
Tell me, Yurisu. Where is the clue? Come on, tell me!
情けないっすね、先輩。
She might be useful. And then, I suddenly heard a voice behind Yuki. I looked up and saw Arimura playing with her twin tails.
なんすかその顔。泣きそうじゃないですか。
うるさい。お前に関係ないだろ。
I yelled at her, even though I knew I shouldn't. And Arimura laughed.
関係なくないっすよ。そろそろ11月4日になるんですけど、ウキのそばにくっついてろって言ったの先輩でしょ。
すまない。
あとクルス先輩のこと実は結構好きなんすよね、私。だから関係ないとか言われるとすっげームカつく。
え？
Arimura's face suddenly became serious, and then she yelled.
しっかりしなさい。そんなに焦ってたら気がつくものも気がつかないでしょ、このバカ。ってクルス先輩なら絶対に言うと思います。
Is it also what you would say?
有村。
Maybe not the baka part.
ねえウキ、クルス先輩が何かにびっくりして、でその後映像を何度も見直したんだよね。
はい。
その時ってどんな様子だったわけ？何かに気づいて驚いた後だよ。
Arimura put her hand on Yuki's shoulders and started to ask her more questions.
ののさんすごく真剣な顔になって怖いくらいでした。
うん。で
イヤフォンにじっと耳を澄ませる感じで、こう何かを一生懸命聞こうとしてるというか。
Yeah, there it is.
うん。
Then I realized I missed something very simple.
僕は今まで何をやってたんだ。
Arimura's right. I've been panicking too much because I was so worried about Kurusu.
クルスは昨日もこの動画を見てたじゃないか。それで僕と喧嘩になった。
She wasn't wearing headphones then. And the computer had been set to maximum volume. What if it was deliberate? Ooh, he got to the thing I got to before. Okay.
どうしました先輩？
I love when I'm right about little things. The little things feel like a bit more satisfying than the big things, because the big things, like, you rarely can actually get the full story. You can just sort of get like the general idea of where it's going, especially as the game like leads you into it. While these things, it's just like a clue that they dropped and it was weird, and it's like, what possible reason could there be for that? It's a bit more satisfying. I'm gonna be honest.
音だ。画像じゃない。音に何かがあるんだ。
That's why Kurisu had worn headphones and set the sound to maximum.
有村、とりあえず聞いてくれ、これ。
I handed her the stereo headset that was connected to the computer. When I saw that she put them on, I set the volume to max and pressed play without telling her that I was going to set it to max.
申し訳ない。この安売りセールしていた生地がありえないくらい硬くて。
Oh, I'm gonna kill you, game. You fucking bad. I was joking about fucking with her, but now you fucked with me. Okay, I'm definitely not finishing this Let's Play now. It's been a year. I can wait another few. Oh my fuck. I'm joking, but fucking hell. Oh my goodness. I'm wearing headphones, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep those off for the next thing. Yeah, correct. Fuck you, game. Oh my goodness, like editing echo, please remember to turn that down for the sake of just humanity in general, anyone watching this. My fucking goodness. I hope I remember. I probably will remember. I might remember. It'll probably really stand out in the fucking recording volume. Holy fucking shit. It sounds so loud that she ripped the headphones off her ears. Then she threw them at me.
ちょっと私の耳をぶっ壊すつもりですか？
だろ？普通そうなるはずだ。
当たり前でしょうが。
That's right. Normally you couldn't focus on anything with a sound this loud. In other words, what Kurusu had been listening to.
音がほとんど入ってない部分だ。
Okay, yeah, that's an option. Fuck you, Gabe. You totally did that on purpose, specifically just to fuck with the player. I moved the video back to the start and played it at maximum volume.
はい。ではいつも通り3分くらい募集をかけるんで適当によろです。
Oh my fucking goodness. You guys might be able to hear that over just the fucking, like, headset. Okay. The scene with him in front of the computer was too loud to listen to. Yeah, and you keep fucking doing it, game. It was sort of funny and charming the first time that you actually got me with that. Like, that was, like, legitimately charming. Now it's, like, just being an asshole. Sound got a little better when he left the computer. But it still hurt at max volume, and you're, like, literally telling me it hurts as you give me that. It's hard to imagine her listening to this part over and over again. He disappeared out of frame, and I stopped being able to hear what he was saying. That was the part where people thought the killer had come in. Ooh, okay. But everyone, from the police and internet users all over the country, had thought that it would lead to the killer. It had been listened to millions of times. If it was in this part, someone would have found it already. Unless they didn't have information that we had.
この先確か怖いんですよね。私あっち行ってます。行こう、ウキ。
Yeah.
でも
Arimura pulled Uki away by the hand. Uki turned and looked at me, concerned.
ありがとう、ウキ。もう大丈夫だ。有村もありがとうな。
必ずクルス先輩を見つけてくださいね。
はあ、二人も4日になったら絶対に離れるなよ。トイレもだぞ。
Other examples could have been used there.
何かあったら大声で叫べ。すぐに行く。はい、
お願いします。期待しないで待ってます。
Yeah. Other examples could have been used, I know. Once I made sure that Arimura and Yuki had gone to the dining room, I started to check all the parts of the video with the white noise. "35 minutes. Oh, that's fun." The knocking. Right, I haven't thought about that for a while. Not here either. No, there's nothing here. Or in this scene. Nothing here either. There are small sounds mixed in with the irritating white noise. It's harder than it looked to focus all your nerves on them. My hearing started to fade, and I started to lose my sense of balance. My head felt heavy, and I suddenly had a terrible headache. I grit my teeth and fought through the pain. Kurusu had gone through this, and in the end, she had found something. I had to do the same thing. And then I heard a tiny noise. I paused the video without even realizing I'd done so. Like, I can't imagine anything else but a voice. Like, what else could have been connected to her?
今のは
I put my finger in the headphones in my right ear and push it in deeper so I could hear better. And then I used my left hand to move the video back and press play again.
なんだこの音
Was that a little squishy sound? Oh, did she have like a little... No, was that this? Was that this, or is this some other story? I'm trying to think. Like, did she have like a little like squishy thing? Was this a story where like one of the girls had like a little toy thing that they played with, and it didn't have the squeaker anymore, so it was just a or something like that. That's what I'm thinking of now, but I'm not sure if that's this game anymore. That might have been one of the other visual novels I've done. It was the scene where he was cutting what he described as cheese beneath the dim fluorescent lights. In between the sounds of the knife, I could hear something else.
もう一回
I played the video again.
この音確かどこかで
I knew that sound. I heard that very recently, very close to me. I played it again and again. I concentrated everything I had in picking out the tiny sound from amidst the noise. I finally realized what it was. Suddenly I felt a cold pillar of ice had been pressed against my spine. No, you could call it sheer terror if you wanted to. My hands shook and sweat poured out of every pore of my body. It felt like the room was spinning.
嘘だろくそ
I slammed my shaking hands down on the desk, and the pain finally got them to do what I wanted. It took me several tries, but I finally managed to open up my Pokecom. I forgot about that, and power it on. I yanked out the headphones from the PC and plugged an audio cable into my Pokecom.
嘘だ
No. I kept screwing it up, but managed to load that scene into an audio editing software. I set the volume to maximum and set it on repeat. And then I hit the play button. My hands still shaking. Yeah, that is... Oh my goodness, what the...
こんなの嘘だ
Why did that pop up? I slammed the Pokecam down on the floor and called her on my phone. The phone rang and rang. Once. Twice. 3 times.
やっぱり来るぞこの音に気づいて
It kept ringing. 6 times, 7, 8. It was like she was ignoring me.
ダメだ出ない
I ended that call, and this time I pulled up Kurisu's number. I tapped the call button, but I got the same result.
なんでだよ
They kept ignoring me. No matter how long I waited, I couldn't hear Kurisu's voice. I hung up the phone and ran out of the room without even knowing where I was going. Da-da-da-da-da-da, and the day changes. Everything's adding up. Everything's progressing. Everyone's figuring out this stuff. So I was thinking like, oh, should I like end it now? But no, I probably shouldn't. But give me a sec. Very quick break.